So we are recording now. A warm welcome to our UMS 12.02.100 release session. As you might have been used to, we had sessions with Siegfried Mang, with Christian Werner regarding the IGEL OS update versions. Now we have the delighted feeling to have Florian Strobl with us, who will present us the latest news on the 12.02 version. To be honest, we had the presentation yesterday in an internal manner, and we do expect great things from this version, and I'm pretty sure you will be excited about that. How are you, Flo?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Florian Strobl. I'm the Senior Product Manager for the UMS, and today I have the honor to present the UMS 12.02.100 to you. And I'm sure that there are a lot of features that you really gonna like. So let's start with the basics. Which environments are supported? We added the support for the PostgreSQL 14 and 15, and also for the Amazon Aurora PostgreSQL. Then, based on the fact that some environments are not longer supported by the providers, they are end of life, we also decided to remove the support here. So we didn't change anything technically, and we just removed it from the support. And because, it's end of life by the providers.
Let me just jump in here, Flo, because that's an interesting point. We might not interest enterprise customers, banks, or insurance with that information, but our smaller customers who are maybe using 18.04 Ubuntu for the Linux server, that doesn't mean it will not work, right? It just means that we cannot support it. So in case you're opening a ticket at our support, you might be asked to update to a newer version of the operating system. But just saying, if you have the feeling that you can't update directly, but you have a migration path planned in 2 months, you should still be good. But please do us a favor and update the corresponding database and UMS server components.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So as I said, we didn't change anything technically, so there is no technical pressure to upgrade. But as you summarized it correctly, we just removed the support of it. Okay. Then we had some updates. So we updated the Tomcat version. We also updated the Azul Zulu JRE version and also the Spring Boot version from the ICG. These are just regular updates. And we also have a bunch of fixes. I only listed some of them. You can find all of them in our release notes. Here for you, because I know that this made some noises in the community. We fixed this mysterious timeout session problem with the ICG. So
yes,
this is
thank
fixed
you
in the 12.02. You're welcome, and also thank you very much for your feedback here. This helped a lot. We also fixed the issue related to the shared workplace together with ICG and the password change here. So it wasn't possible to change the password in this combination, and this is also fixed now. So I hope this will support a lot of our customers. Then we made it possible now to upgrade from a UMS standard server to a distributed UMS installation. For example, we also fixed the issue that you can now assign the IGEL OS Honeywell firmware updates. Then we had internal security pen tests, and of course, this is fixed as well. And as I said, there are a bunch of other fixes, and you can find all of them in the release notes. The release notes will be shared together with the UMS installation files. So then let's jump directly into our features. One of the most important features here is that from now on, it's possible to import and export profiles for OS 12 in the UMS Web App. The file format here is IPM. And what is also very important to know is each export will include the app metadata. So this will help you, this will help our support that when you share the profile, the recipient will always get the app metadata. So there's no issue that he can't open the profile or whatever because some apps are missing. Also, I know that you like life hacks. So one thing here is this import-export function is also a very nice way to copy profiles in the UMS Web App. So you can just export one profile and then you can several times import it. And then you have just a lot of copies in your UMS Web App. So this is just one small hint how to copy the profiles.
A small hint, but a great feature, by the way. I know that a lot of our customers are listening to the video and saying, yeah, we had that for years in the UMS Java console, but to be honest, in the UMS Web App, this is a huge step in the right direction, because from there on, we are getting not a complete feature parity to the UMS Java console, but we are getting closer and closer. And I know that a lot of people also from our resellers are waiting for that feature because they are getting profiles from their customers, trying to help them, and for the moment it was not possible. So that's a huge step in the OS 12 and Cosmos story. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Then, of course, it's not only restricted to profiles. We also have the import-export function for the apps and for the base OS, of course. So here we have the file format IAM, so IGEL app metadata. So you can export the apps and then you can import it. Maybe necessary to know here, there are now 2 locations where you can upload apps. You will have a new icon in the app tree. Here you can import all the apps with the map metadata, or if you downloaded the app from the app portal, you can also import this binary here in this section as well. And as you probably already know, if you set up the UMS as update proxy, there's also the possibility there to upload apps. Here it's necessary that you only upload the apps with the IPKG file format, because these includes all the binaries. That's the reason we have 2 different sections. But in this new section where you can import the apps, you can use both file formats. Then, of course, it's also possible to export device settings as profiles. And of course, you can import it then as a profile. Also interesting to know here is per default, these profiles will include the unit ID of the device. And there will also be a short description in the profile just to make clear that this profile is based on a device setting. This also helps then our support if they want to fix something or you want to share these profile settings. Then another highly requested feature here, we have or we do now fully support proxies in the UMS. So this will include the ICG 12 and all our IGEL cloud services. Therefore, we renamed the already existing proxy server usage for deployment, ALD, automatic license deployment, into IGEL cloud services. This ICS now includes the onboarding service, the app portal, the ILP, and the insight service. So all of them are now included in this IGEL cloud services. And of course, we also extended the ICG proxy, so it's now compatible with ICG2 and ICG12. And of course, you can still use the firmware update proxy, and this was changed. So let's talk a little bit about usability and user experience. So I know this was an evergreen in the community, and now I proudly present you the double click. So it's now possible to open profiles and device settings by clicking twice on these objects in the UMS Web App. Also highly requested the context menu for devices. So it's now possible to open the context menu via right click on a device in the UMS Web App, and you will see all the commands there. that are also visible via buttons on the right-hand side. So this will increase, I hope, the usability and will fasten all the administration here.
You don't have to hope, it will be the case, believe me.
It will be the case.
Because everyone who is coming from the Java console, it is just a kind of a particular automatism that you have in your head, that you have to right click and then you get all the actions. I mean,
exactly,
we would have get used to get that also in the menu bar from the web app. But again, from a UX perspective, it wasn't fitting perfectly. And we make the joke yesterday, not the joke, but we make the statement in the chat, in the internal session, that this UMS version is really the first, in our vision, UMS 12 version we can really rely on. And we are more than happy to see this and that you're listening to the market, because even the proxy topic, Sven, this is for you. The context menu is for David Prowse and a lot of other persons who are in the Azure community and active there. Guys, we are listening, and especially Florian and the product management team is stating with that feature enhancement that they're listening to the market. So please join us and test this product as much as possible. And if you didn't upgrade from UMS 6, please do so now, because this UMS is really fulfilling most of your needs.
Yeah, now is the time. Thank you for this great feedback, Sebastian. So this is right now used for the devices, and then of course we will extend this feature, for example, for the trees and so on. So this will come in the upcoming releases. Now you can use it for the device section, which is, I think, a great improvement here. Then, based on your feedback, a lot of users were a little bit confused about our logic, how to count objects in the tree, in the configuration tree, and also in the device tree. We now have a new logic here with two numbers. The first number shows all the objects directly assigned on this level. So in this case here, I have a Florian directory, and on the right-hand side, you can see there's no object inside, so there's a 0. But on this level and all our other child levels, we have 20 objects. So the second number shows the total number of objects in this and all below directory levels. And I hope that this will help you and will remove all the confusion regarding to this calculation logic. Then, also based on your feedback, until now, there was the potential risk that you configure an app in a profile, then you go back to the app selector and you deselect the app. And if you then click on save, then you lost all of the configuration. Now, we introduced this warning and pop-up window. So if you have an app configured, you go back to the app selector, you deselect the app, then you will see a warning window, which just makes clear that do you really want to do this, and make sure that you don't want to lose the configuration here. Also, just a small improvement, but also necessary, I guess, that for all the windows, this pop-up windows in the UMS Web App, we now introduce this little X icon, so the cancel icon. So it's not necessary now to read all the text and think about it and choose the right button. You can now just click at the X and then you are just back where you were. Then I guess all of you who are already handling OS 12 and OS 12 profiles, this is also a huge improvement. We now added an additional tab to the profile details. It's called apps, and it will list all the configured apps in a profile. So you don't have to open a profile now. You can just see here in this section which profiles, which apps are configured in this profile. Also, one improvement in the front end. In the back end, it was already implemented that you cannot assign OS 11 profiles to OS 12 devices and vice versa. this was handled in the backend, but in the front end, you didn't get any hint. Now we fixed that. So now if you have an OS 12 device, you can only assign OS 12 profiles. And if you have an OS 11 device, you can only assign OS 11 profiles. Then another UX improvement, we thought about the motivation of the admin to visit the app section. One motivation is to import new apps, but I think the most important reason is that you want to get a quick overview which apps are at the most recent state and where you have to do some updates. Until now, you had to click at each app and you see it then in the detail section. And now we have this information also in the middle section. So you see at one glance which apps are, which are the recent version and where you have to do some updates. I think that also helps you a lot. Then we also improved the app state and messages. So if you are on our device and you go to the installed apps, you then see all the apps. You can see the state of the apps and you can see the message. So for example, the IGEL UMS base system RC2, the download failed, and the reason is that this app simply is not found. So this was not available in the app portal any longer. Another very important feature or support is that now we support all third-party reverse proxies. Until now, it was only possible to use third-party load balancers which support an SSL pass-through mode. And now with the 12.02, we support all third-party reverse proxies, including the SSL termination, which do support optional mutual authentication. So this includes F5, Nginx, Netscaler, and so on.
Just in case, Flo,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you for a second, because that is huge. The F5 and Nginx is one thingy, but I guess we would also have the question if the SSL inspection will be supported, because a lot of enterprise customers are using SSL inspection, which is splitting up basically the SSL stream and inspect it and rebuild it then afterwards. Is that part of that release already? Can you answer that?
When I think about it, I guess it's supported.
No, good.
I didn't hear it from my development team that it's not supported. I just got the feedback and we now have the full support, but let me double check. And if it's not supported, I will let you know, and then you can just post it in the community.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah. What I do know is that during the development, we found out that the Azure Application Gateway does not support the optional mutual authentication. We actually didn't expect that. And because of this very late finding, we had to postpone the support of the Azure Gateway to the 12.03. So here you have to wait a little bit longer, unfortunately, but for all other reverse proxies, we now have the full support. And by the way, we have a great knowledge base article launched, which explains when does it make sense to use an IGEL Cloud Gateway, when does it make sense to use a reverse proxy. So we list all the advantages and disadvantages. So yeah, if you haven't read yet, please go to the site. I think it's very helpful for you.
We shared it on the Azure community because the question is rising quite often, and we had discussion also after a meetup that we had with you guys from the product management. Does adding the ACG to a UMS 12 communication adding any additional security layer? And that started an interesting discussion. And the article that Flo just pointed out is part of that answer. So if you have questions also for your security department, if ICG makes more sense in your view, because as you know, the ICG is not mandatory anymore to communicate with devices which are outside of your company network, It's definitely worth a read because we are covering every question, every use case there. And if you have something which is unclear, just join us on the agilecommunity.com and we will be happy to answer your questions.
Perfect. Then we have another feature. It's related to the unified protocol. You can now activate the log for device commands in the UMS Web App, and then all the device commands are logged in the logging section. Then we have one huge update to Java 17. This was really a lot of effort because it affected all our services, the UMS, the web app, the ICG, the installers, and so on. But it will make a huge step forward. We are future-proof now for the next years, and it will provide you a lot of more security. Yeah, so this is the update to Java 17. Then let's talk about new features in the UMS Web App. We introduced the scan and register function you already know from the console. It's now available in the UMS Web App as well. You will find it in the device section. And here, yeah, you have different possibilities how to search for the devices. You can type in an IP range. It's also possible to copy paste it. And what is also very interesting, there's a checkbox where you can select if you want to see already managed devices or not. So yeah, I think this is a great feature. And yeah, let us know if you like it or if you have ideas how to optimize it.
Just a small hint on that window, because I know that our old customers are used to hear the term certificate stored instead of already managed. So basically, already managed is exactly covering what the certificate stored was in the IGEL UMS Java console. So don't be afraid. It just means exactly the same in another manner. And I don't know if a lot of customers are using that feature, but just in case, you use TCP for scanning, it's replacing the UDP broadcast that we are sending out. And if you have sometimes devices which are not responding, but responding 10 seconds later if you start another scan, please take a look at the use TCP for scanning, because that could give, even if the search is a little bit slower, a little bit more accurate results in your scanning manner. So just in case, worth to try it. Great.
Okay. Then another feature now available in the UMS Web App is the new search. So you know it from the console as View, and we now renamed it, or we just use the search in the UMS Web App here for this new feature. It's a very user-friendly way to create searches, edit and reuse it in the UMS Web App. It's a section where you can select different categories, but there's also a query field where you can type in SQL-like queries in a complex search. So you have and ors, and very user-friendly is that you can just copy it. You can share it in the community. You can share it with your colleagues. They can just paste the query into the field and they have it also. Of course, you can save all the searches in the web app, and you can then open it again. You can edit it. And of course, you can export all the search results. Also, we added a new search criteria to the UMS Web App. It's called the OBS onboarding user. So if you already have onboarded, or if you have used the onboarding service, then maybe you already saw this new field in the UMS Web App on the device level. There you have the information which onboarding user onboarded this device. And of course, this could be also very relevant and very interesting for the admin to search for. So here we have a new search criteria. Yeah, as it's a totally new feature in the UMS Web App, again, please let us know how you like it. We still improve it in the upcoming versions, that's for sure, but I'm very proud to have it now launched in the UMS Web App. Then another feature in the configuration dialog. So when you open a profile, it's now possible to use template keys or to create and edit template keys. I hope you're all familiar with template keys. If not, please maybe make sure that we have great articles in a knowledge base. Template keys, it's really a powerhouse force. It can speed up your administration. And now it's possible to use it in the UMS Web App. It's really a nice feature. You can create them, you can assign it to the profiles. And yeah, like I said, it's just very easy now to use it in the Web App.
Fun fact, we had a call tomorrow with the knowledge base team, and we will record a few use cases that customers are usually looking at when using the template keys. But even from my previous time, I must say that I don't know a lot of customers using that feature. But as soon as you explain them how to use it and for which use cases, the ideas are popping up quite quickly. We'll not cover it now because it would take too much time. But for listeners, please be assured in the next weeks, you will get a new video included in the KB regarding that topic, because you will love it.
Yeah, totally. So when I started at IGEL, there was just a big question mark for me when I heard about template keys. But once I understood it, I said, wow, okay, this is really powerful. And you can use it for a bunch of use cases. So yeah, I can highly recommend to read these articles and yeah, just think about how you can use it in your organization. And now we are already at the end of the session. So this is the scope for the 1202-100. It will be released next week. So let us know how you like it. If you have great ideas how to optimize it, and yeah, always welcome to get feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Flo and team. So just in case, if you are not part of the IGEL community, you can join us on join.igelcommunity.com, or just go to igelcommunity.com, and from there you will find the join button. Why? Because we will post the release of that version in the new product releases channel. So you will be directly informed as soon as the download servers are all replicated and you can start your update process. If you have any questions, or if you want to give feedback to Florian and to the product management team, please feel free to reach out to me in the IGEL community. I'm Sébastien Peruzat. You will see me and you can find me under my real name. Just send me the feedback and I'm happy to forward it then to our product management team and also to our dev team, who put in a lot of effort to create that version. And as I mentioned during the call, even for internal persons like I do, it was really mind-blowing to see that this version should have been the 1201 in our view, but due to calendar and to some publishing pressure that we had to make it in 2 steps. Now, believe me, the 1202 is definitely the version you were looking for. And if you are wanting to try IGEL OS 12 and the Cosmos ecosystem, this is the version to look at. Florian, thank you very much for your time. I know you have a busy calendar and a lot of appointments today. So thank you for the time you took for the IGEL community to share that release. It was the longest session that we ever had, but it was filled with a lot of great information. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Flo, thank you.
See you. Goodbye.